Have you ever felt trapped in a labyrinth of love, endlessly circling the same painful patterns? A chilling familiarity in each new embrace, as if destiny itself were a cruel puppeteer, orchestrating your heart's sorrow? It begins with such promise, a spark of genuine connection that ignites hope within the deepest recesses of your soul. But then, almost imperceptibly, the shadows lengthen, the air grows heavy, and you find yourself reenacting a tragedy you swore you'd escaped. Are you haunted by echoes of past relationships, their ghosts whispering anxieties into your present? You tell yourself, this time will be different. I've learned my lesson, yet the same conflicts arise, the same wounds are reopened. It's as if an invisible force is compelling you to repeat the very scenarios you most desperately wish to avoid. Why does this happen? Why do we, seemingly against our own will, choose partners who mirror our deepest insecurities, who trigger our most primal fears? Is it merely a matter of poor judgment, a series of unfortunate coincidences? Or is something far more profound, something darker, at play? Perhaps you find yourself drawn to partners who are emotionally unavailable, mirroring a parent who withheld affection. Or maybe you repeatedly fall for those who crave control, echoing a childhood where your own autonomy was suppressed. These patterns aren't random. They are whispers from the unconscious, echoes of unresolved traumas reverberating through your life. They are the siren song of the shadow, luring you back into the depths of your own hidden pain. Consider the possibility that your relationship choices aren't driven by conscious desire, but by a deeper, more primal imperative: the need to heal. The unconscious mind, that vast and mysterious realm beneath the surface of awareness, seeks completion. It seeks to resolve the traumas of the past by recreating them in the present, hoping for a different outcome. But without awareness, without conscious intervention, these attempts at healing often backfire, leading to further pain and disillusionment. Think of it as a karmic loop, a cycle of suffering perpetuated by unconscious choices. Each toxic relationship becomes another turn of the wheel, binding you tighter to the past. But what if you could break free? What if you could understand the hidden forces driving these destructive patterns and consciously choose a different path? What if the key to unlocking healthy, fulfilling relationships lies not in finding the perfect partner, but in confronting your own inner demons? The journey ahead will be unsettling, a descent into the shadows of your own psyche. But within those shadows lies the potential for profound healing, for a love that is not born of trauma, but of conscious choice. Prepare to confront the uncomfortable truths that lurk beneath the surface, to unravel the mysteries of your own heart, and to finally break free from the toxic cycles that have held you captive for far too long. Are you brave enough to face the darkness within? Are you ready to rewrite your destiny? Delving deeper, let's explore how these ingrained patterns manifest through the lens of attachment theory. Imagine, for instance, someone who, as a child, experienced inconsistent caregiving, a parent sometimes loving and attentive, other times distant and preoccupied. This individual might develop an anxious, preoccupied attachment style, characterized by a deep-seated fear of abandonment and a constant need for reassurance. Consequently, they may find themselves drawn to partners who are emotionally unavailable, unconsciously recreating the familiar dynamic of seeking validation from someone who withholds it. It's a torturous dance, driven by the subconscious hope of finally earning the love they craved as a child. Conversely, consider the person who grew up in an environment where emotional expression was discouraged, where vulnerability was seen as a weakness. They might develop an avoidant attachment style, learning to suppress their emotions and maintain a sense of self-sufficiency. In their adult relationships, they may unconsciously choose partners who are overly dependent or emotionally demanding, reinforcing their belief that intimacy is suffocating and that emotional connection leads to vulnerability, which they equate with danger. This is not necessarily a conscious choice, but rather a deeply ingrained defense mechanism designed to protect them from the perceived threat of emotional vulnerability. Think, too, about the influence of family systems theory. The family unit, like any system, seeks equilibrium. Sometimes, this equilibrium is maintained through unhealthy patterns. For example, in a family where conflict is avoided at all costs, one individual might unconsciously take on the role of the scapegoat, becoming the target of blame and criticism, thereby diverting attention from the deeper, systemic issues. This individual, in their adult relationships, might continue to attract partners who perpetuate this dynamic, unconsciously recreating the familiar role of being the problem in the relationship. Adding another dimension to this understanding, we must consider the concept of transference, a psychological phenomenon where feelings and desires originally associated with one person, often a parent, are unconsciously redirected onto another person, typically a romantic partner. Now, contemplate how this plays out in reality. Imagine someone who harbored resentment towards their father for his controlling behavior. They may find themselves unconsciously projecting these feelings onto their partner, perceiving them as controlling even if their partner's behavior is not inherently controlling. This can lead to unnecessary conflict and resentment, perpetuating a cycle of negativity. It's essential to recognize that these patterns are not fixed or immutable. With awareness, insight, and a willingness to confront the uncomfortable truths of our past, we can begin to break free from these destructive cycles and create healthier, more fulfilling relationships. The first step is to become aware of the patterns themselves, to recognize the ways in which our past is shaping our present. However, becoming mindful of these patterns is just the starting point. The next step involves understanding the underlying needs and fears that drive these patterns. What unmet needs are you trying to fulfill by choosing partners who mirror your past traumas? What fears are you trying to avoid by recreating familiar dynamics? By delving into these questions, you can begin to understand the deeper motivations behind your relationship choices and start to make more conscious, intentional decisions. Reflecting on this journey so far, a tapestry begins to emerge, woven from threads of unconscious longing, defensive strategies, and the persistent echoes of formative experiences. It's as if we've been navigating a hall of mirrors, each reflection distorting and refracting our own image, making it difficult to discern the true self from the projections of the past. The question now becomes, how do we step out of this disorienting maze and into a space of authentic connection? Consider the accumulated weight of these unseen forces, subtly shaping our choices, coloring our perceptions, and ultimately, dictating the course of our relationships. They operate like an intricate clockwork mechanism, set in motion long ago, its gears grinding relentlessly, perpetuating patterns that feel both inevitable and deeply unsatisfying. But within this very complexity lies the potential for liberation. For as we begin to understand the inner workings of this mechanism, we gain the power to dismantle it, piece by piece, and construct something new in its place. The path forward, then, is not about seeking a flawless partner or striving for an idealized version of love. It's about cultivating a profound understanding of ourselves, acknowledging the shadows that dwell within, and embracing the inherent imperfections that make us human. It requires a willingness to confront the uncomfortable truths about our past, to excavate the buried emotions that continue to exert their influence, and to reclaim the power to choose our own destiny. Imagine a garden overgrown with weeds, choking the life out of the delicate blossoms. To restore its beauty, we must first clear away the tangled growth, exposing the soil to sunlight and air. Similarly, to cultivate healthy relationships, we must first clear away the debris of past traumas, allowing our authentic selves to flourish. This process may be painful, requiring us to confront aspects of ourselves that we have long tried to avoid. But it is also deeply transformative, paving the way for a love that is rooted in self-awareness, compassion, and genuine connection. Drawing these insights together, we see that the repetition of toxic relationship cycles is not a matter of fate, but a consequence of unconscious programming. By understanding the origins of these patterns, we can begin to rewrite our internal code, creating new pathways for connection and intimacy. This is not a passive process, but an active and ongoing journey of self-discovery, requiring courage, vulnerability, and an unwavering commitment to personal growth. As we approach the final reflection, consider that the greatest love story you will ever write is the one you have with yourself. So, as we stand at the threshold of understanding, let's consider this. What if the recurring heartbreak wasn't a curse, but a coded message? A complex, personalized instruction manual, written in the language of pain, guiding you back to the most important relationship of all, the one with yourself. These echoes of past disappointments, these familiar pangs of unfulfillment, they aren't simply random occurrences. They're whispers from your deepest self, urging you to excavate the hidden chambers of your heart, to unearth the buried treasures of self-love and acceptance. The truth, often veiled in layers of fear and conditioning, is that you are not destined to repeat the past. You possess the power to rewrite your narrative, to transform the echoes of trauma into a symphony of healing. But this transformation requires a radical act of self-compassion, a willingness to embrace your imperfections, and to forgive yourself for the mistakes you've made along the way. It demands that you step out of the shadows of self-doubt and into the radiant light of self-acceptance. Imagine a sculptor, meticulously chipping away at a block of stone, revealing the masterpiece hidden within. Your journey is not dissimilar. You are the sculptor, and your life is the stone. With each act of self-awareness, with each courageous step towards healing, you chip away at the layers of conditioning, revealing the beautiful, authentic self that has always been there, waiting to be discovered. And as you embark on this journey of self-discovery, remember that you are not alone. We are all interconnected, each of us grappling with our own unique set of challenges, our own personal demons. By sharing our stories, by offering each other support and compassion, we can create a collective wave of healing, transforming not only our own lives, but the world around us. Therefore, let the awareness you've gained not be merely an intellectual understanding, but a catalyst for profound change. Embrace the discomfort, lean into the vulnerability, and dare to create relationships that reflect your deepest values and aspirations. Choose partners who see you, who celebrate you, and who support your growth. And most importantly, choose yourself every single day, with unwavering love and compassion. The cycle breaks not when you find the right person, but when you become the right person for yourself. When you cultivate within yourself the love, acceptance, and security you once sought externally. Only then will you attract relationships that mirror your inner world, relationships that are grounded in authenticity, respect, and mutual growth. The true practice begins now. Listen to the whispers of your heart, honor your needs, and embrace the power to create a life and loves that truly reflect the magnificent being you are destined to become. For within the depths of your being lies a universe of untapped potential, waiting to be unleashed. What if the key to unlocking true love was simply remembering who you truly are?